Page, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, preliminary matter on the AM docket, case number 15, Lou's Bar and Liquors, 4819-25 Eastern Avenue, violation of Rule 4.01A. This case has been postponed, and all interested parties will be notified as to the new date and time. Call the very first case on the AM docket, Bing Chen and Yoon Chen, Chen's Liquors, Inc., treating as B&O Cafe, 1301-03 West Pratt Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on December the 19th, 2017. Please come forward.
Can I ask you to step back for just a second, ma'am? Okay, good morning, everyone. For those who have not been before the board before, we are recorded and televised, and it's impossible to pick up your voice unless you stand close to the microphone, but not on top of it, which makes it harder to understand. You'll need to be sworn in before you testify, and then you'll need to state your name on the record before you testify so that the gentleman to my left who's recording this can keep an accurate record. Before we begin with the first case, I wanted to ask if there are licensees or their counsel present who are going to be requesting postponements of their cases this morning. If so, would you come forward, please, and make those requests?
So should we make this a separate file, not the B&O Cafes? Okay.
Yes. Is there anyone requesting a postponement? Come up, please. Your name, sir?
Cüneyt Öztürk.
And
Hold on a second there.
what is your, which facility?
Phosphorus.
Yes, correct. 5716 Bosporus.
Your Ozturk.
Case number 5, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. And you wanted to request a postponement for what reason?
Yeah, my lawyer gets sick, and Mr. Lalit Gadia, and he was not able to be here today, so that's why I'm trying to postpone.
Okay.
I don't have option. I'll testify today as well.
It's okay. Do you know if Mr. Gaudier will be available? When will we put it back in, Mr. Page?
Sometime in May, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, let's hope he recovers by then. Okay. Let's continue the case to that docket, okay?
Thank you.
Tell him we hope he feels better.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll get a new notice.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. Come back up, please. And would all those who are going to testify in the B&O Cafe case, please raise their right hands.
You might want to have Mr. Page call it again, just in case.
Okay.
I don't know procedurally if we need to do that.
Mr. Page, you want to recall the matter?
Yes, case number 1 on the AM docket, Bing Chen and Yoon Chen, Chen's Liquor, Inc., trading as B&O Cafe, 1301-03 West Pratt Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on December the 19th, 2017.
Please raise your right hands, everyone.
How do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Your name, ma'am?
First name Bing, last name Chen.
Good morning, ma'am. So you're charged with a violation of Rule 4.01A, sale to minor on December 19, 2017. Do you wish to admit that happened and explain to us, or do you want to deny it and have us put on testimony?
Guilty.
Okay, you will admit it. Okay. So tell us what happened on December 19, if you'd like to.
My employee named Lee, he was working as a cashier. Eventually, he's told me that that person doesn't look like he's over 21. And I told him if anybody is under 35, you're supposed to ask him for ID.
So after you were charged, Mr. Lee told you that he thinks he made a mistake, or did he tell you this at the time?
After that.
After, okay. Okay. And who went in there afterwards? Were they cooperative with you?
Yeah, they were very cooperative. She's made a lot of changes in the place actually to comply with. I know that it's not on the docket today, but she has had several BD7 violations, and she's made a lot of progress trying to get the bar open and has made some improvements in there.
Okay.
Agent Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board.
Okay, so Ms. Chen, what the inspector's referring to is back in 2017, last fall, there was an open and operating violation. There was also one in July. So what have you done about those things?
Yeah, I did correct it.
So is your bar open on a
Yes.
regular basis
Yes,
now?
yes.
And do you have someone there all the time, or is it you who's there?
I was there. I have a bartender a certificate too.
Okay. All right. Was there anything further you'd like to tell us?
As the first time, and also that he did correct it as under 21. He's always check his ID. I see that he did approve his corrections.
Okay. I think that the commission has generally recommended that if anyone appears to even be under 40,
Okay.
that you have to check them. But if I come in, you won't have to check me. Okay. Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
There are two
Oh,
letters
yes.
from
Thank you.
Montclair Community Council.
Yes. For the record, we've received on February 21 and February 16, first a letter from the Montclair Community Council, which is in opposition to you and saying that they hope that we do not renew your license, and they want us to revoke your license. And another one, February 16, from the Montclair Community Council. These are both from Nancy McCormick, President, and she's seeking the closure of your place. Do you know Ms. McCormick?
Yeah.
Have you ever had conversations with Ms. McCormick? Why is she so opposed to you?
I don't know why. And
Well, what has she complained about?
she complained about changing this to be a sitting restaurant. I say on this area it's hard. I say I try my best to make it better, but it's kind of hard.
So she doesn't like having a cafe at this location. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they say they can't be present today to explain, so we'll make the...
Because I chatted with her on the Facebook also, in my person
You have
independent.
to speak up, so...
No, sometimes I chatting with her on the Facebook too about.
Okay, well, it would be helpful for you going forward, because these renewals are going to be coming up soon, that you have a serious conversation with her and her organization. You might want to sit down with them and talk with them, because if they come in and they file a protest, you're going to have to go through all of that and establish that you're entitled to remain in business. So don't ignore them.
Okay.
You understand?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, do the commissioners have anything further? Okay, on the basis then of your admission, Ms. Chen, the evidence that's contained in these documents charging it, the testimony, and the other evidence we've received, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on December 19, 2017, and this being the first such violation you've had, and given the testimony that you are addressing the issues that you've had before us before, I would impose a fine of $350 and give you 30 days to pay it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, you have to hear what the other commissioners say.
I was going to do 500, 30 days to pay.
So I too find the violation of Rule 4.01A. I was actually going to go higher to $750, but I would agree with $500. I think, Ms. Chen, you have a lot of community work to do, and as the chairman just said, you've got to meet with the community. You got to. Ms. McCormick raises some very legitimate concerns, and so if you're not clear on what her issues are, I'd encourage you to sit down with her and the community association.
Okay.
So you understand, then the ruling is a violation, $500 fine, you have 30 days to pay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Amalis. Board Exhibit 3, two letters of opposition from Mount Clair Community Council dated February 16, 2018, and February 21st, 2018. Thank you.
Jin Mo Chung and Chi Ho Oh, OCI Liquors, Inc., trading as Jason's Liquors, 1209 West North Avenue. This is a Class A, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
All right, counsel, identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jay Yu, representing Mr. Kwang Lee.
Would everyone please raise your right hand?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Yu, is the gentleman here one of the licensees?
Actually, Mr. Lee is the manager.
The
of
manager,
premises.
okay.
He's the one who actually broke the law.
Okay, and are the licensees going to admit or deny the violation?
Admit, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. Do you want to present testimony? Or
Yes,
proffer?
We'll proceed by way of proffer. Mr. Lee came to my office a few days ago and indicated that that he had violated the Rule 4.01, and I asked him what happened, and basically what he told me was that he was very tired, he was fatigued, and he had been working since 8 in the morning that day, and usually he works with his wife. Wife covers for him during the daytime, and he takes a nap. The store opens from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and it's pretty long hours for a 74-year-old gentleman to work. His wife is 72. They're running the store, and that day, Mrs. Lee could not, help him to take a nap. So he was very fatigued and tired, and on top of that, he was diagnosed with throat cancer. So he recently underwent radiation therapy, and that made it worse. He said he was tired and fatigued, and he was almost on an autopilot. And I asked him, looking at that Thomas who's standing over there, he obviously doesn't look 40. He looks pretty young. So I asked him what happened. He was on autopilot. He was just absent-minded. He was tired, and he just
Okay.
didn't bother even to ask how old he was. So I asked him, obviously the commissioners will be asking you, what can you do to prevent this from happening ever again? And we discussed various options, and we discussed the ID scanner, and of course we did some research to see if that's a possible way to do it. But then again, some of the ID scanning machines are independent from the register. So in order for, despite his tiredness and his absent-mindedness sometimes with his illness, in order for that to be effective, it has to be somehow connected to the register, like a POS system where, as soon as he punches in the register prompts him, to scan the ID. But that's something we're exploring. But those ID scanners that are sold, which is more affordable, which is ranges from $500 to $1,000, those are kind of independent ID scanners, which are more geared towards preventing fake IDs. So we're kind of exploring into obtaining a POS system, point of sale system, which is computerized, which will automatically prompt him to scan the ID when he scans the item. So we're looking into that right now.
Yeah, he might also want to consider, at least while he's going through his treatment, shortening his hours on certain days so he's not so tired when these things occur. I understand that's a financial problem, but your health is important too, sir. Okay, was Mr. Lee cooperative? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And do the commissioners have questions?
I do not.
Okay. Do you?
Actually, I do have a question. When was this licensee
1998.
transferred? 1998. It looks, And then what was in 2017, the application for transfer?
It's been in this corporation for that long.
The different licensees?
Correct.
So under this licensee, this is the first offense.
Right, it looks like there was a,
It was a violation back 18 years ago.
99, but was dismissed.
Yes, under this licensee.
So, but that's a different licensee. So under this licensee is the first one.
First
All
one
right.
for this one. Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, on the basis then of the admission, the evidence contained in the charging documents, that your proffer and any testimony we've received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2018. Taking everything that you've said into consideration and the fact that it's the first violation, I'd impose a fine of $400 and give him 30 days to pay it.
I find a violation as well, and I will agree with $400 given the fact that this is the first offense with this licensee.
I too find a violation of 4.01A and concur with the $400 violation.
Thank you.
See, do I have Mr. Lee? Mr. Hugh? I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Krista Malice. Thank you. Mr. Lee?
Right, I noticed that.
Did you do the exhibits already? Mie Han, New Q's Liquors and Tavern, Inc., trading as Q's Liquors and Tavern, 2521 East Monument Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
Yes, good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensees. It's an admission.
Okay, good morning. Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what's the explanation, Mr. Fogelman?
The explanation may be less complicated than some of the others. It was a momentary lapse of judgment on the part of the nighttime manager, Jeffrey Kim, who's present today. Licensee Yoon Kim is also present. He's reported that he believed that the cadet looked like potentially a regular who'd come into the establishment to purchase. This was obviously not the same person.
Okay.
Miss Kim, the licensee, she's the widow of Q Kim, who operated this establishment for many years prior to his death. She had to make a decision as to whether to fire Mr. Kim or not. Mr. Kim's worked there for 3 years with no problems. He feels terrible. He understands that he's put his employer's business in a bind, and will be very much more diligent in the future.
Okay, and is Councilwoman here? Would you come forward, please? You are hidden. I didn't see you. That's all right.
Sorry about
Would
that.
you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Shannon Sneed, Councilwoman for District 13.
And what did you want to tell us?
So I have some pictures. I'm constantly on Monument Street holding cleanups, and particularly behind this store it's constantly trash, and it's always a mess. I have pictures to show that we actually put on Facebook to show that we had to clean it up ourselves. So I just want to go on record that this is not an owner who is taking pride in our community and taking ownership of in front or behind the store.
Okay.
So the last time I was here with this bar several years ago, Q Kim was alive. He was the owner. He was very much engaged with the community, gave lots of donations, both in kind and cash, to various organizations in the neighborhood. In fact, he had a letter of support from Councilman Warren Branch. Now, he's deceased, and his widow is running the establishment and owns the business. So I think I would definitely urge the applicants to reach out to the new councilwoman and see if they can get back involved in being a positive part of the community.
But I think, because renewal's coming, and those kinds of issues are exactly the kinds of issues that we have to be concerned with on renewal, although they aren't necessarily germane to a sale to a minor that's before us today. But everybody would be well advised to have good discussions and communications so that the community and the licensee can work out any difficulties before they come back. So we appreciate your testimony. Thank you for that, and I hope they hear what I'm saying. Okay.
Thank you.
As to this particular day, January 16, were the people cooperative when you went in? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Fogelman, they have two prior violations for this, but they're back in 2010, so it's been a while.
And that was obviously under the husband, the former owner of the bar, who's deceased.
I understand, and before Mr. Kim worked there. So, is there anything further?
No, again, this is the Mrs. Kim's first offense under her management and ownership of the bar.
Commissioners have questions?
Just to clarify, May Han is the licensee? correct?
Yes,
Okay.
she's present. I'm sorry, I called her Yoon, sorry.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Fogelman,
Clarify that.
what are they doing to prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, they only have 2 employees, and the nighttime manager, Mr. Kim, is the one who dropped the ball. And I think sometimes keeping that person on board with an understanding that they've already put the business in jeopardy once, and second time, as they already know, is a lot worse. He's gonna card everybody. I mean, that's all there is to it. He mistook the cadet for a regular. So if that's the case, then you can mistake other people. Faces to humans, it doesn't work that way. Maybe with a computer, with our facial recognition technology, but we are prone to error, and the best way to avoid that error is to card everyone.
Okay. On the basis then of the admission, the documentation for the charges, and the proffer and testimony, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2018. Because for this lady's, it's her first violation, and the others were 8 years in the past, I would give some consideration to that, impose a fine of $500, and give her 30 days to pay it.
I concur with the finding of a fine, and given that it is her first offense, $500 is reasonable.
I
30
too find a
days.
violation of Rule 4.01A and will concur with the assessment of the fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you later this afternoon.
Mr. Fogelman. I call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Joanne Martin. Thank you.
Ho Chang, Joe Chang, and Cheo Ha Chang.
Real loud on my mics when you're shuffling pages like that. Hard to hear what people are saying. You could slide down maybe to John's to do that.
Good morning. Would you everyone raise their right hands, please?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I called it into record. Chanco Group LLC, trading as Zen West Roadside Cantina, 5914-16 York Road. This is a Class B, a beer, wine, and liquor license. Violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 11th, 2018. Please come forward.
Okay. Would everyone please raise their right hands now?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Your names, gentlemen?
Your name first,
Po Chang,
and your name,
Sam Adi,
Sam.
O-T-T-E-Y, Adi.
Okay. Gentlemen, you're charged with a violation of a sale to minor violation on January 11 of this year. Are you going to admit or deny it?
We admit it.
Okay. Would you like to tell the commission what happened?
Sam was the bartender that night, so I'll let him explain a little bit.
Mr. Adi?
It was just a complete lack of focus on my part. I was having a rough day personally, and it's just a giant mistake. I should have carded him, and I didn't. I usually card everybody, regardless of how old they look. But I just had a lot on my mind, and I did not card.
How long have you worked there?
I want to say like 2.5 years at this point.
Okay. Because there were violations for the same offense back in 13, so that was a little more than 4 years ago. But you were not there at the time.
I think I've been bartending for 2 years, and I started 6 months before that as an expo or a server.
Okay. Was he cooperative, officers? Yes. Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
You know, I mean, first of all, on the basis of your admission and on the basis of the materials in our charging documents, your testimony, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 11 of this year. The difficulty for us with these, and you know, you say that you were having a bad day and it was a lapse, and that may very well be true, but then we have prior violations. They aren't your fault necessarily, but they're chargeable to the licensee.
Yes.
For this violation, I would impose a $750 fine and give 30 days to pay.
I, too, find a violation of 4.01A, sale to minors, and I agree with $750 fine and 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the $750 fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
See down here, sir. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Clark. Thank you.
Anthony DiMartini, Michael Gentry, and Kevin Rhodes, BGBD LLC, trading as Freddy's, 7209 Harford Road. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 3rd, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So are you Mr. DiMartini?
Gentry.
Gentry, okay. Do you wish to admit or deny the violation on January 3?
Admit.
Okay. Do you want to address the board about that?
I was under the assumption that the cadet looked much older than this, so now I feel really bad. The bartender we had that evening, she was new to us. She is from a different location. We hired her about probably a month prior, so we have not had a chance to get her alcohol certified through the same certification that we use for all the bartenders there. We use the John Murray for all of our alcohol certification. All of our bartenders are certified except for this person. She is from another establishment, and she already had an alcohol awareness training not from the same place that we use. I was under the assumption that she would be fine to leave to be able to identify all people under the age of 40 to card them sufficiently, but apparently that evening she did not.
So have you got her signed up for the?
Yeah, she's on the March 12th docket for him in Hartford County.
Okay.
Are you managing the
Yes.
establishment?
Yes.
Was he cooperative?
I don't remember seeing him there.
I was
but-
not there, no.
Right, but the lady who served my cadet and her significant other were there, and they were very cooperative.
Okay. Mr. Gentry, you had a prior violation back in 2013.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
Any other questions?
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, that's all.
All right, on the basis then of your admission and the materials contained in the charging documents, your testimony and the other testimony we've received today, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 3, 2018. I would impose a fine of $600 and give you 30 days. And that's based on the prior, essentially.
Understood.
I too find a violation of 4.0101A, sales to minors. I will agree with the $650 fine.
Oh, it's 600, actually.
Or $600 fine. $600 fine.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and will concur with the fine of $600.
Thank you, sir.
Here you go, sir.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Andy Perez. Thank you.
Thank you.
Juan Antonio Ortez, La Roca LLC, trading as La Roca, 3210-14 Pulaski Highway. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 3rd, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands, everyone.
One second.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
So are you interested in admitting or denying the violation on January 3?
Admit it.
Okay. And what would you like to tell the board?
Well, we made a mistake. My employee has been working over there for 7 years, and he's the first time he made a mistake. But I
Is this
was
the
not-
gentleman?
No.
My son.
Oh.
I came after the fact. When they were leaving, I pulled up and talked to the employee.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
James Ortiz.
Okay. Thank you. You pulled up as the officers were there?
Well, as they were leaving,
As they-
and I spoke to him and asked him what happened exactly. He's never made a mistake there, ever. It's just he saw the cadet, and he's like, hey, how you have an ID? He's like, no, I forgot it in the car or at home. I don't remember exactly. He's like, I'm 20. I'm like, I'm 21 or 22 or something like that. Don't remember the exact age. He sat there and stared at him. Guess believed him. He's never done anything like that before. I guess he, I don't know, lapsed of judgment on his part.
Well, you say he's been there for 7 years. You've got violations in 16, 10,
Yes.
and 8. Was he there during those?
16 was an employee at that store. We moved him to a bodega. He doesn't work there anymore. In 2010, that was my cousin. He's definitely not there anymore. And, those were not as reliable employees as the one that just messed up this time. He's more like the most reliable employee we have there. He always IDs
He
everybody.
needs to not make those close calls.
Yeah, that's the only time he's ever done that, though.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I do. Maybe it's a question, a comment. I don't really think that this is about the employee as much as it's about the owners.
Yeah.
And so, there is a really not a terribly great, in fact, a poor record you guys have, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, it sounds like the responses to, your responses to the chairman were about the employees. And, how present are you at this?
We're almost always there.
We always there.
I'm
and that's-
7 days.
Okay.
And that time I left, and he was coming in.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and the first time, I usually leave like 10, 9 o'clock. That day I got something to do. My wife called me. She wanted to do something.
I understand.
I'm there 7 days. I open, close. I just leave for a short period. He'll come in, and that was like the transition period. Normally that guy's stocking up, and I'll be at the register. So,
And was it Detective Gatto that you spoke to that evening?
no, I known him previously. I see him occasionally.
You get in trouble a lot?
No, sadly, no.
This is a very cooperative. This is a good establishment, even regarding their past record, I will say that.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, on the basis of your admission and your testimony and the other testimony received, as well as the information contained in the charging papers, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, on January 3, 2018. As Commissioner Greenfield points out, you have a poor record in this regard and a recent violation. So I would impose a $1,000 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
How much?
I concur with the finding of a violation of 4.01 4.0A, sales to minors, and I also agree with a $1,000 fine.
I
30
can,
days to pay.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hayes, I'm sorry. I'm be like too quick. I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and will agree with the fine of $1,000.
And I want to say that we can go as high as $3,000 on these fines and suspend, and I didn't go higher because Detective Gatto has vouched for you as a good establishment, so
Yeah, we struggle there.
be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah,
This is
we went through a lot over there, like
is the fourth
after the
one.
riots and all that. So,
I
yeah.
understand.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Ms. Ortiz.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Andy Perez. Thank you.
Rajinder Singh Sandhu, H&P Friends, Inc., trading as Crosstown Liquors, 3243-45 Bel Air Road. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 3rd, 2018. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Sean Harvey, I represent the licensee, Mr. Sandhu, and HP Friends, Inc., the current licensee.
Is Mr. Sandhu present?
Sandhu was not able to be present today, but he did not want to postpone the results of this
Okay,
incident.
well, let's get everybody sworn first, and if you're going to testify.
Well,
why don't you-
proffer.
All right, okay. Let's raise our hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Was it his intention to admit the violation?
If the board is satisfied that, first of all, this is the cadet that was involved with the incident, and you're also satisfied that he was under the age of 21 on January 3rd of this year, then yes, my client would admit.
I don't have any reason to doubt it. Do you want to question him?
Well, just ask him, how old are you, sir?
20.
20?
And your name, sir?
Charles Thompson,
And your date of birth?
06/06/97.
Okay, my client will admit.
Okay.
I'd like to be heard in mitigation.
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Sandhu has operated this very busy liquor store on the corner of Bel Air Road and Edison Highway for almost 15 years. I believe he's only ever had one violation.
Our records indicate the transfer was in 13, and he has no history of violation.
Under that licensing.
Well, he has always been a licensee since
I see what you're
HP
saying.
Friends. He's an officer, but there was another.
Another entity that held the license, okay.
Exactly, but he's always been involved. So, all right, well, on the basis of your records, I'll.
Well, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, there's been no violation. Is there
I think there was only one back maybe 8 years ago with this particular establishment. But I'd like to say, first of all, that he takes these matters very seriously. Mr. Singh, who was the clerk working the liquor store at the time, was not certified in alcohol awareness. He has since been. I have copies.
You may pass that up.
All of the commissioners, if you'd like to have. No?
It's okay. I've seen him.
Actually, one is fine.
All right,
We'll give it to Ms. Russell.
He's been certified. Also, I'd like the board to know that currently negotiating and almost have a contract together for him to sell this liquor store. I was speaking with Mr. Kadensky in the back, who represents the potential buyer, and there may be a transfer application in as soon as Tuesday. So I just take those things into consideration.
Was it cooperative?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harvey. On the basis of your proffer on behalf of your client, the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 3, 2018. I'd impose a $500 fine and give him 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
I too find a violation of 4.01A, sales to minors, on January 3rd, 2018, and I agree with the fine of $500, 30 days to pay.
I agree with the finding of the violation of Rule 4.01A and the violation of $500.
Thank you. Thank you.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Harvey. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation reports, Inspector Clark. Like to see Exhibit 1, I call awareness certification. Thank you.
Ikelu Gabre and Yosef Tesfazon was Hazard Inc., trading as Opposite Sidewalk Saloon, 132 South Carey Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 1st, 2018. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees. To my right is Mr. Iklilu Gabre, one of the licensees.
Good morning. Will he raise his right hand as well as the officers, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Previous, an admission or denial?
Admission, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. You want to explain what happened?
Sure. On the evening in occasion, Mr. Gabre was not present. He was there after the fact, but his longtime employee, Mr. Tesfaye, was there. Mr. Tesfaye acknowledges that he did not ask for cards. He indicated that the cadet looked like a regular who he knew was over 21. He realized his mistake, and Mr. Gabre has enforced that anyone that looks under 30 or 40 needs to be carded, even if you think you know them. Mr. Gabre would like to submit to the board. He received a letter dated August 14, 2017 from the Maryland Department of Health indicating that they did seek cards for someone trying to buy cigarettes, and on that occasion it was in fact Mr. Tesfaye, the employee who served the cadet in this case. They will absolutely be more diligent going forward. You have, the licensee purchased the establishment on February 14th of 18, a year ago, and we've had two recent... 17, I'm sorry. And we've had two
Open and
recent
operate.
hearings with regard to the BD7 issue, and like I explained the last time, I'm working with him for him to get educated and cleaned up with regard to the BD7 issue. This is the first minor violation. Respectfully request a $500 fine.
Cooperative?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners?
Has Mr. Tesfaye participated in any training, alcohol awareness training?
He doesn't have the certificate? We certainly ought to do that. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I would also encourage you and all the other licensees, if anyone's coming in to purchase New Amsterdam peach vodka, I'd encourage you to card that. There's a theme here.
Right.
That's all.
Okay. Anything further? On the basis then of the admission, the documents that we have in our record, the testimony received today, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 1, 2018, as being the first sale to minor, and the fact that you are correcting the BD7 problem, I would impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay.
I concur with the finding as well. I find a violation of 4.01A sales to minor, February 1st, 2018, and I agree with the $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the finding of the fine of $500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Previous. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Andy Perez. Licensee Exhibit 1, letter from Maryland Department of Health dated 8/14/2017. Thank you.
Thank you.
Young Min Chang and Shirley Payne, 99 Uptown Inc., trading as Uptown Bar, 1901 Edmondson Avenue, This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Are you Mr. Chang, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're charged for this violation on January 31. Do you wish to admit or deny that it occurred? You're
Guilty.
admitting? Okay. Do you want to tell us what happened on that evening?
Yes, my basically when my employee, Mrs. Susan, has almost 10 years working experience in a liquor store. When she started working, every day I told her check ID. The new face customer that looks 35 years old, you have to check ID always. But at that night, she made a mistake. She was, I think she was so tired.
I understand. So you've had this license since 2015, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is the first violation?
Yes, sir.
Was he cooperative, gentlemen?
Well, she was.
She was?
Yes, she's always been cooperative, yes, very much.
Okay, commissioners have questions?
Questions?
I do not.
All right, Ms. Chang, on the basis of your testimony, the materials we have concerning this incident and the other testimony received, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 31, 2018. Considering your candor and the fact that it's the first violation and that it's not going to happen again, I would impose a $350 fine and give you 30 days.
I concur with the finding of a violation of 4.01A, sales to minors, January 31st, 2018. And I agree, given the fact that there have been no violations and your testimony here today, I agree with the fine of $350 and 30 days to pay.
I concur with the finding of the violation of Rule 4.01A and the fine of $350.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Andy Perez. Thank you.
Fred Hill, Hill Inc., trading as 19th Hole, 2722 Harford Road. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2018. Please come forward.
No.
Can you raise your right hand, sir? And the other gentleman?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Are you Mr. Hill, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're charged with selling alcohol to a minor on January 31, 2018. Do you admit that that happened or deny it?
It happened, yes.
Okay. And how, do you know anything about the incident? Were you there?
I wasn't there at the time.
Who was?
My son.
Does he manage the operation for you?
Yes, he do.
Okay. He's not here today. The difficulty is that we have violations of the same offense in 2005, 2008, 2009. Now, you've had this license for a very long time.
Over 50 years.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just interject, it appears that the 2009 violation was dismissed.
Oh, you're right. I take that back. Okay. I missed that. Thank you. Okay, so the other violations are about 7-8 years ago. Is there anything you want to tell us about it, other than that it was an error?
Oh, it was one of those crazy weeks when a vehicle ran into the side of the building, and we'd been spending about 10 days trying to get straightened out to open up again. And they were tired, and he described the cadet that I don't see him, really.
Well, this is the gentleman who purchased the alcohol.
Beard, I don't know.
He doesn't look like he's old enough to have a beard.
No, this one had a beard.
I think he misdescribed him to you, but in any event. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I don't. Sorry about a car driving into your building.
Sir?
So a car drove into the building?
Go into the building, yes.
I assume not on purpose.
Was it an accident?
Accident?
Accident, yes.
Okay, wow. I hope everyone's okay.
Is Mr.
Well,
Hill
it
being
was,
cooperative?
$3,900 worth of damage. And it was confusion, and really.
Okay, Mr. Hill, on the basis of your testimony, the admission, the other materials that we have, and the testimony that we've received this morning, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 31, 2018. Considering there has not been a violation in about 10 years, 9 or 10 years, I would impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I, too, find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 31st, 2018. And I agree with the $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with the fine of $500.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Andy Perez.
Oh, yeah, we have 3 more.
Hack, June Lee, and Roosevelt Tyler. Lee, L&M Inc., trading as L&M Liquors, 1148 East North Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
What are your names, please?
My name is Hak Jun Lee.
Okay, and your name, ma'am?
Hak Kyung Lee.
Okay. Are you related?
She's my sister. Brother.
Okay.
Hack, second middle name?
Kyung.
Spell.
Kyung. K-Y-O-U-N-G.
Okay. Mr. Lee, you're charged with a violation for sale to minor on January 16. Do you admit or deny that it happened?
I admit.
Okay. And do you want to tell the commission what happened that day?
Yes. It was my sister. She covers for me when I either eat or go to the bathroom, and I think she thought that he was a regular, and yeah, that day was just like freezing
The
and
customer called the police on me, and he accused me of selling to minor, to the younger person. I don't acquire his face, and he look young, old enough. But I didn't look at his face. I don't know how he looked like. But he was tall, and he was big, and he looked old enough. And he called the police on me, and he accused me of selling to minor.
Has your sister been trained, alcohol training?
No.
No. I think you're gonna, if she's gonna work there, she's gonna need to obtain that alcohol training like the others we've talked about this morning. If you don't know how to get that for her, our staff can assist you with that.
Okay.
Because this is your third sale to minor violation. There was one in 2015 and one in 2009. And I don't know if she's been involved in all those or whether you were, but it's a problem. Do you understand? Okay.
Yes. The 2014 was the first one after the transfer.
So have you transferred in 2007? Maybe I'm wrong.
Let's see.
So that's why they charged.
Of the corporation. It's from the corporation.
We were charged 500, but it was lessened to 250. So this is second violation after.
So is that accurate?
When we do the violations, it's about the corporation. I'm not sure if licensees change, but the corporation is. who we do it by.
So the corporation has had the license since 2007? But you have not always been on the license?
Yes,
When did you go on the license?
I think 2016.
Oh,
Do we have record of the 2016 transfer?
No, I don't believe it.
Not you.
remember,
Not you.
remember? 생각이 안 나?
I-
생각이 안 나? 어? exactly 생각이 안 난다 이거지.
Oh,
오케이. 죄송하다 이거지.
no,
oh, okay. Is there anything further,
no.
commissioners?
Yep.
No.
Okay, on the basis of your testimony, the materials that we have in the charging documents, the other testimony received, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. I am not satisfied that there's no responsibility for the prior, so I'd impose a $750 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
I too find a violation of 4.01A sales to minors, January 16, 2018, and I agree with the $750 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the fine of $750.
Get her trained so you don't have to come back here, because we might close you down next time. You understand?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Paperwork.
Are there exhibits to be called for that one?
I'm sorry, yes. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Krista Malice.
Ashley Kim, Kwong Lee, Eric Inc., trading as Whispers, 1807-11 Baker Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Are you Ms. Kim? Are you Mr. Lee?
No, I'm the husband for Ashley Kim.
Okay. Ms. Kim, you're charged with a violation on January 16th for sale to minors. Do you want to admit or deny that?
Guilty plea.
Admit?
I
Okay.
need to get his name. If he's the husband.
What is your first name, sir?
Taek Kim, T-A-E-K,
Start over.
T-A-E-K, K-I-M.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to explain what happened on January 16th?
Can I explain to you?
Yes.
My employer put Mr. Kim, so he made a mistake for that. So he did like about 2 times for that. I was fired for him for that. So now I work for with my wife, and then it's a weekend. I got 2 sons, so he's gonna help me right now. So I check the ID every time right now.
So this employee is no longer there?
No more.
You're working there?
Me and my wife, and then my family. So I got 2 sons for the so
Your 2 sons working there?
yeah, just weekend for that.
So how old are they?
The 22 and 21 years old for his graduate school for the just part-time work for the.
And have they been alcohol certified?
I got that. She got the, but they don't have it yet.
I think
But-
you need to get them certified too,
So you mean my son?
if they're going to work there, yes.
He work for part-time, but so I work with him. Always. So he can stand for the with cash for without only him. Just,
Well-
I work for with him. Every time for that.
The problem is not that you've had sales to minors, but there's a protest of renewal back in last year and 2 BD7 violations. So whoever's working there needs to be much more vigilant than they've been. Were they cooperative?
Yes, Commissioner, they would.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I have a comment, if I could, Mr. Chairman. To your point, as you know, you were here last year roughly on a protest of renewal.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And so in the last year, before your renewal, you'll have 3 violations. And so I would encourage you to really address these issues. And in fact, we have an inspector, Han here, who can explain the rules and regulations, but I do think you need to get your house in order, so to speak.
It was the same employer put the, 3 times for that. That's why I was fired for that. Same Mr. Kim, this is
I understand, but if there was a protest last year, there's likely to be a protest this year, and your record isn't getting any better.
Which means your license could be at risk.
Yes. So, okay. Anything further, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. On the basis then of the testimony, the admission, the materials that have been contained in the other testimony, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. Based on your record, I'd impose a $1,000 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Given the history of violations, I too agree with $700 or $1,000. That's $1,000 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with the $1,000 fine.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Miles. Thank you.
Could be, but
Josh Burrell and Sharif Thompson, BTJ LLC, trading as Maxie's Pizza Bar and Grill, 3003 North Charles Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 11th, 2018. Please come forward.
please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name, sir, please?
Josh Burrell.
Mr. Burrell, you're up in the Hopkins area?
Yes, I am.
Okay. This is charged on January 11, 2018, sale to minor. Do you admit or deny that it
I
happened? Okay. And what happened, sir?
I wasn't there at the time. I was actually on my way. My bartender, Brittany, for some reason, didn't ask for ID. This is something that I preach all the time to all of my bartenders. Even have a sign in the back saying, check IDs in bold red. I even have her $3,000 ID checker sitting there by the register so they can use. But she refused to check IDs, just being lazy. She was dismissed after I watched the film. From looking at Mr. Thomas, there's no way in the world I would not have checked his ID. I do check IDs. All of my people check IDs.
You must get a lot of students in there.
Yes, and we actually joined forces with John Hopkins Security. They actually did a video in my place because the way we do check IDs for fake IDs with the ID checker to show their students, that we do it to try to deter them from coming. This is something I do not tolerate. There's zero tolerance with it, and she was dismissed, like I said, that night.
Okay. Cooperative?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioners?
I don't have any questions. It sounds like you're correcting the issue.
Yes, I stay on top of this all the time. My bar manager, Heather, ever since then, I think we had like one other person hadn't had their liquor awareness certificate. They have acquired that, and we have monthly meetings. I have a monthly meeting. She have bi-weekly meetings with the bartender. So she really do stay on top of this when I'm not there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burrell. On the basis of your admission, the other materials contained in the charging documents and the testimony we've received this morning, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 11, 2018, this being your first violation, and taking into consideration your testimony, I would impose a $350 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of 4.01A, sales to minors, January 11, 2018. I agree with the $350 fine.
to find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with a 350.
Good luck. I hope we don't have to see you on that again.
I don't expect you to see me again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Clark. Thank you.
Mr. Page, is that our morning docket?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Now begins the PM session of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, preliminary matter on the PM docket, case number 14, 4316 Reisterstown Road, a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2018. That matter has been postponed. All interested parties will be notified as to the new date and time.
Thank you. If there's anyone present for this afternoon's docket who is going to be requesting that their case be postponed, would you please come forward at this time? Okay, thank you. You may proceed. First case.
Number 1 on the PM docket, Antonios Exopaladides, G&X Inc., trading as Tony's Place, 4215 East Monument Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and Class AE adult entertainment license. Here for violation of Alcoholic Beverage Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on December the 20th, 2017. Violation of Alcoholic Beverage Rule 3.03C, employees' records, on December the 20th, 2017. Violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05A, on December the 20th, 2017. Violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.22C, employee records, on December the 20th, 2017. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensee. Mr. Antonios Exopalatides is to my right, and his son-in-law, Mr. Demetrius Bitsanis, who was working that evening, is to my far right.
May I ask everyone to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Previs, will these be admissions or denials?
We admit the Liquor Board Rule 4.01A violation. We deny the records violation, and Mr. Bitsanis will speak to that. And I also deny the adult entertainment violations as duplicitous.
Okay. Who is going to present the evidence on behalf of the employee record violation under the Alcoholic Beverages Act? Mr. Fosler?
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
I'm okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Foster, you look much, much better, I must say. And I noticed the wristband around your wrist, and I just hope that you didn't escape the hospital.
I'm leaving that, because every time I take it off, I end up back in the hospital. So I figure if I leave it on, that'll be. Mark Foster, Chief Inspector, Baltimore City Liquor Board. I won't go through the whole thing about the sale to a minor.
No, let's start with the records, okay?
Just that after the sale to a minor, after myself and Detective Greenhill, other members of the Vice Unit entered the establishment, the bartender was Kajina Scott, and we asked for identification from her because she was the person that had served the cadet. She was unable to provide us with any kind of identification, and there was we asked Mr. Demetrius if there was any employee records, but we couldn't. There was no, they had everything else, but there was no employee records that we could find on the establishment.
You say they had everything else. What do you mean?
They had their liquor license, their health, their trader's license, alcohol awareness, everything else.
Okay. Questions?
Thank you. Chief Foster, when you asked for records of Miss Kajana Scott?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Appears to be a miscommunication. I'll have Mr. Bitsanis testify. I have no further questions. Were they polite and cooperative otherwise?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to
I'll
take
have
care
him
of this
testify.
offense now, and then we'll move to the others, okay?
Yes, sir. I call Mr. Demetrius Bitsanis. State your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Dimitrios Bitsanis.
Spell your first and last name.
Dimitrios, my first name, and my last name B as a boy, Itsanis.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay? Now, you were the manager on duty that evening, right?
That's right, yes.
And and Mr. Exopolitidis is your father-in-law?
That's right.
And you're the full-time, you work there full-time?
Yes.
Okay, and you were behind the bar when Ms. Scott did serve Cadet Thomas?
Yes.
And what were you doing at that time?
Washing the glasses or something occupied with something else.
Okay. How long had she worked there at that time?
A couple of weeks.
Okay. Did you ask her for her ID and other employee records at that point?
By that time?
Yes.
I remember, no, I didn't fill in any application for her.
Okay. Have you since gotten employee records for her?
Yes.
Do you have employee records for everybody else that works there?
Yes, I do have.
When Mr. Fossler asked you for records, what was your understanding with regard to records?
I thought he was talking only about Miss Scott.
Okay, and you admit you did not yet have records for her because she was new?
Yes,
but you did have records for everybody else?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Okay, and you maintain those records?
Yeah, I do maintain.
And you understand your legal requirement to maintain all those
Yeah,
records?
I do.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay. Can we present, do the commissioners have any questions on that issue? Okay. Who's going to present the evidence on the adult entertainment violation for sale to minor? You admit to the facts?
Admit the facts.
So your point, you want to make a legal argument?
Legal argument, yes, Your Honor.
Your argument is that it's duplicative?
Yes.
And what does that have to do with the law?
What's that?
What's the legal theory?
Under the adult, two things. One is, under the adult entertainment licensing ordinance, City Code Article 15, Section 1-1 through 32, the basis for sanctions, 1-28, denial, suspension, or revocation, in general, the board may deny, suspend, or revoke an adult entertainment business license or renewal license for any of the following causes. For failure to comply with any provision of the building, fire, and related codes of Baltimore City, the health code of Baltimore City, the zoning code of Baltimore City. 5, failure to comply with any provision of the subtitle or any rule or regulation adopted under this subtitle. Or 6, failing to comply with any provision of local, state, or federal law that affects or relates to the operation of the adult entertainment business. With regard to the liquor, it's not a building fire-related code. It's not a health department code. It's not a zoning code. It's a liquor violation, and this board has state authority to administer the liquor laws. So you have the liquor laws, and then you also have the adult entertainment laws, and I don't think it's appropriate to get sanctioned twice because you have both a liquor and an adult entertainment. The other part of that is...
So that's your legal argument, that you don't think it's appropriate?
I think it goes beyond the scope of... Okay. There's already liquor rules and regulations is the basic argument. The second part is under the Liquor Board's Adult Entertainment Rules and Regulations 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licensees. A, all licensees that have been issued a liquor license and adult entertainment license shall abide by all rules and regulations listed in Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of the Liquor License Rules and Regulations in the operation of their adult entertainment license. B, licensees that only have been issued an adult entertainment license by this board shall abide by these rules and regulations. So licensees that only have an adult entertainment license don't have to abide by the liquor laws, but people that have both have to abide by both. the logical
that make
conclusion
sense?
is you're abiding by them by complying with the liquor rules.
I hear your argument.
Okay. The third argument, which would probably be much more palatable to Mr. Chairman, is that fine them once for the violation that may be technically a violation of one side and the other.
Okay.
I'll
And
submit that.
with respect to the adult entertainment violation on the employee records, would the evidence be the same?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Do commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I do not.
Anything further?
No, the licensee has been there for many, many years. The board's information shows 1980, but I believe he's been involved with this establishment since 1973. It does show a minor violation, serving to a minor violation, March 25th, 2010, and nothing since. So respectfully request that you consider a minor fine on the sale to a minor, and no violation with regard to the employee records, or a minor violation for the fact that he did not yet have records for this particular bartender.
Mr. Fosler, were they cooperative with you?
Mark Fossler, Chief Inspector. Yes, Chairman, they were very cooperative.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from anyone? All right, on the basis then of the testimony received, the admission as to the first rule violation, the materials contained in the record that we have here, and any proffers from counsel, I would find violations of Alcoholic Beverage Rule 401, small a, on December 20, 2017, which was admitted. Violation of Alcohol Beverage Rule 3.03, small c, on December 20, 2017. I'd find a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05a on December 20, 2017, and a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.22, small c, on December 20, 2017. I do note that the license has been in place since 1980. There was one sale to minor violation 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. Taking all that into consideration, as to the first violation, I'd impose a $250 fine. As to the second violation, I'd impose a $100 fine. As to the first adult entertainment violation, I'd impose a $250 fine. And as to the second adult entertainment violation, I'd impose a $100 fine for a total of $700, and I'd give them 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of 4.01A, sales to minor, December 20, 2017. 3.03C, employee records, December 20, 2017. Adult entertainment rule 3.05A, December 20, 2017. And adult entertainment rule 3.22C, December 20, 2017. And I agree with the chairman's fines for each, and 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the $250 fine. Find a violation of Alcoholic Beverages Rule 3.03C and agree with the $100 fine. I also find a violation of the Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05A and agree with the fine of $250. And I also find a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.22C and also agree with the fine of $100.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frews. I hope next time you're up in the circuit court, you will advance one of your arguments and see where we go with that. I'd like to be enlightened.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mohammed Manochi, Fisherman's Wharf, Inner Harbor, Inc., trading as Moe's Fisherman's Wharf, 219 President Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on December 19, 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, representing the licensee.
Is this your first time up today?
I was here monitoring earlier just to get a feel for the flow.
We're grateful.
Actually, more important question, Mr. Chairman, is this your last time today?
I want to hang around a little bit, I think.
Thank you. Would everyone raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Admission or denial, Mr. Kaninsky?
It'll be an admission, and the gentleman to me is the manager authorized by Mr. Minetti to be here. I'm sure you're familiar, he has 4 or 5 restaurants. In this particular incident, this was an employee who had worked at the other Moe's on Albemarle Street. It's been closed about a year. She really wasn't real familiar with all the people there and made a mistake and served, as a result of which they are going to have most of their servers and people behind the bar recertified, because I'm sure you all know, if you were ever in the business, that people stay 2-3 years and they move on and they move on. And so in the meantime, a lot of these are newer people. They never had a serving minors violation. He's had a license here since 1989.
Okay. Cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners?
Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Kaninsky? All right. On the basis then of the admission, the proper from counsel, the materials contained in the charging documents, and whatever testimony we've heard this afternoon, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on December 19, 2017, taking into consideration that the last violation was back in 2012 and it was not for sale to a minor. I'd impose a $350 fine and give them 30 days.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minor, December 19, 2017. And given the representation today and the history of violations not relating to sales of minor, I agree with the $350 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the fine of $350.
Thank you.
You go, Mr. Kudetsky. Thank you. I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Amalis. Thank you.
Sean Casherly, BMB Foods, Inc., trading as Kibby's Restaurant, 3450-56 Wilkins Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on December 19th, 2017. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, February the 12th, 2018. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Catcherly?
Correct.
You're charged with this violation on sale to minor on December 19 last year. Do you admit or deny?
Admit.
I also have an illegal conduct violation charged in February, and let's see, corporate status problem, that it was forfeited.
What is that?
That your charter was forfeited by the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. Has that been corrected?
Well, the lady from the comptroller's office called the lady from the liquor board today to tell her that we were working on it. Kristen, I think her name was. She called.
So you admit that it was forfeited, and you just you're in the process. Okay. Do you want to explain to the board what happened on December 19 of last year?
When the
sale occurred.
The bartenders TAM trained or tips trained or whatever, and so is the manager on duty. So she just said she was busy and didn't collect money from him, but didn't ID the cadet and made the mistake of serving him. And it's a constant thing that I'm constantly pounding on them about. But the average age of kibbies is 65 or my age, so it makes it that much worse, in my opinion, that when a young person walks in, it should be a red flag, you know what I mean? But she served them, and she admits to it, and we're working on, I've had every employee trained a few times, kitchen staff, everybody, where John Murray's come in and trained everybody. I haven't had it done for about 3 or 4 years, so we're talking about doing that again.
Well, I want the record to reflect you have no history of violations. This is the first time.
No, yeah, it's like I said, it's not a place where young people come.
But none of the, no other violation either, thank you. And ma'am, are you Ms. Singleton?
No, I'm not. My name is Jerika Robinson. I'm a representative from Senator Barbara Robinson's office.
Oh.
Mr. Cassidy didn't even know I was
Well,
coming.
welcome.
Yes.
So what did you want to add?
But I'm in here also in place of Ms. Singleton Brock. First and foremost, we have been, Senator Robinson has dealt with with Kibby's Restaurant for quite some time. They're very instrumental in the neighborhood. They provide services for the community. Ms. Brock, she's the president of the Violetville Association. He allows us to use his establishments to hold community meetings as effective of last month that I attended, so I know that for a fact. Also, I would like to mention that he also helps the community by identifying and helped identify and apprehend a murder suspect, and he also helped with the police to shut down an open drug market. So it's not just a restaurant; it's a family place that helps the community within itself. And with the whole, and is with the senator, she's hoping for leniency as far as the fine, willing to help him with the tax problem and any other help because this establishment is very valuable to the community.
Thank you for your testimony.
you.
I also want the record to reflect we have a February 20, 2018 letter from Natasha Bach Singleton, Vice President of the Violetville and St. Agnes Community Association, in support of Kibby's and the licensee. Were they cooperative? Very cooperative. Okay. The commissioners have questions?
Just a comment, I commend your efforts with the community.
Thank you.
I think we all do. But unfortunately, on this occasion, December 19, 2017, I will find, based on your admission and the testimony we've received and the materials that we have in support of the charges, that there was a violation of 4.01 small a sale to minor. And you are advising the board that as to the forfeiture of your charter, that's going to be corrected?
Correct. Yeah, we're in active. I'm working with Ms. Washington down at the comptroller's office to correct that situation.
Okay. Well, I'm going to find a technical violation of Rule 4.16 on February 12, 2018, when it was determined that it was forfeited. Given the testimony here today and the fact that you have no prior history, I'm going to impose a nominal fine of $100 on the first violation, and I will not impose a fine as to the second. I'll give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
We have to hear from the others.
Oh.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, December 19, 2017, and I agree with a $100 fine. I will also not find a violation of Rule 4.16, February 12, 2018, based on the fact that you are correcting that currently.
So I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the fine for $100. We'll also find a violation of Rule 4.16 and we'll strike any fine, agree to make it 0. So thank you
Good
for
luck,
being
sir.
here.
Thanks.
Sir. I'd call exhibits for the record. Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Amalis. Board Exhibit 3, letter of support from Violetville Community Association dated 2/20/2018. Thank you.
David Berg and Brian Spun, Admiral's Cup LLC, trading as Admiral's Cup, 1645 Thames Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January the 11th, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands, everyone.
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes.
Your name, sir?
Darren Mislin, managing partner.
Say that again, Darren.
DARIN
I thought you might be working for Mr. Kadensky. I saw you've been here all day. Okay. So the licensees are charged with a violation on January 11 of this year of sale to minor. Do you admit or deny that?
Admit it, we did it.
Okay. So do you want to tell the board what happened?
Yeah, so I have 8 bartenders. They're all current alcohol awareness certified. We keep all the certifications current. I also have a door staff 7 days a week, multiple doormen on the weekends. That evening, our doorman He's a retired Baltimore City police officer. Stepped away from the post to use the restroom. That's when the cadet came in. Our bartender served him, didn't ask for ID, and we were just negligent. So I've put some protocols in place since to avoid that situation.
Cooperative? Very cooperative. Okay, commissioners?
So you asked for ID upon entrance and
On the entrance.
the bar, or just when they come
If there's door staff on, they card anyone that comes in the establishment.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of your admission and your testimony and the materials we have contained in the documents, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 11, 2018. There was a similar violation about 4 or 5 years ago. I would impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 11, 2018, and I agree with the finding.
I find a violation, oh, I'm sorry, again, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with the fine of $500, although, since you had to sit here all day, I was thinking about making it less, but given the fact that I'm overruled now.
Fair enough.
Actually, it was because of the prior. I would have lessened it if it hadn't been, okay? Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Clark. Thank you.
Sung A. An and Dolores Johnson, ACA Liquors, Inc., trading as Eric 500, 500 East North Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 11th, 2018. Please come forward.
Fogelman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensees.
Good afternoon. Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Will it be an admission or a denial, Mr.
An
Fogelman?
admission, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you want to give mitigation?
Happy to plead
Okay.
guilty with explanation. Yes, thank you. Ms. An, this is a first offense under her ownership of the bar.
That's Ms. On to your right?
Yes, it is. And she had hired an employee named Pearlie Lewis, who was still in training when she did not card the cadet. I spoke with Miss Lewis by telephone today. She was still a little bit shaken up about this because she was in training. She said she claims this was the first person she didn't card and on that day, and it was the first time. It had been busy. The lobby was full at the time, and she was a little overwhelmed. She indicated that she considered herself lucky to still have a job at the establishment, and that there's been no incident since then, and that she has implemented, along with the Ons, the owners, 100% ID check. Mr. On told me today that he's posted a poster on the front and behind the register and in front of the register to remind both the customers and the cashiers that no ID, no service is what it says. Once again, you know, they could have very well fired her given the fact that she's a new employee. Ms. Lewis has indicated that she completely understands the sanctions for this and for future violations, and thus they feel that, you know, ironically, she's got the best experience with this to prevent her from making such a mistake again. As I say, this is a first offense, and they...
When you say first offense, what do you mean? When did she get the license?
I want to say 2016.
It's been under the same corporation for the date listed.
Because we have it here from 2012 with a very bad record.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but Miss Hahn, it's my understanding. Does anybody have the printout of the file?
It's under the same corporation, but Ms. On.
Under the same
is a new-
corporation.
New licensee.
New licensee.
When?
The corporation has been there since 2012. Ms. On looks like she came in around 2017.
2017?
Yeah, they purchased the corporation from the prior owners.
So was she here back in July for the open and operating violation?
I was not their lawyer then. I don't believe so, because both of them told me this is the first offense they've had.
First, for her, sale to minor, but we did have a BD7 violation last summer.
Their daughter is fluent in English and Korean. I might be, if I may.
Ms. Russell's looking it up, I think.
Great.
Okay. While she's doing that, were they cooperative with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Who was, Mr. Fogelman, who was the previous owner?
The previous owner, I don't know his name. I did represent him a few years ago.
He never told you?
No, I just can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Mr. Chairman, the previous owner is Mr. On.
Was it was Byung-Woo
Was the
Khan?
current owner. Standing right there.
Right, the husband of
Correct.
the licensee.
So it's the same.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
So this is the last violation.
I think that's Mr. On, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Well,
Corporation, different licensing.
So it's the same, okay.
Okay.
So but when did she,
She wasn't on the license at the time.
right,
The last violation.
when did she get on the license?
Before we do,
Don't answer it.
Not on the record.
8/17/17.
Dolores Johnson.
August
City
17th.
resident.
Oh, okay.
8/17/17, so after,
He was on the
She
after
went
the
on.
last one. Yeah, so this is
Yes, when
her
was he on?
first.
Oh, was she?
Second year, folks. I can't tell what's a conversation and what's on the record right now.
Yes. All right, let's start over, okay? Are you going to elicit testimony?
I'm just trying to make sure I understand the facts better with a little bit of English.
Do you want to step back with your clients and talk?
That's when we left the license? Got off the license?
No.
I don't know the answers.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. On was a licensee until the license physically transferred to Ms. On
On 8/17/17.
August
17.
2017.
All right, I don't dispute that. I mean, the board's records are pretty accurate. So, Ms. On is a licensee. Ms. On's in charge. Historically, the board has treated this as a first offense, regardless of marriage.
Commissioners have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Who's actually operating and managing?
Ms. On. Ms. On's there 40 to 50 hours a week.
Mr. On ever there?
He is. I mean, he definitely assists.
Was she operating, I know she wasn't on the license, but was she operating before August 2017?
No, she was raising children.
Okay, anything further?
No, thank you very much.
On the basis of the admission, testimony, proffers, and the materials contained in the charging documents, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, on January 11, 2018. This is troublesome because it's obvious that this family has had the license for a long time and has a very serious record. They transferred it. I don't know if it was to get out from under this record, but I'm not entirely satisfied with that. So it is her first. I'll give her some credit, but I'm going to impose a $1,500 fine and give her 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 11, 2018. I agree with what the chairman just indicated in terms of the history of the license and ownership transfers and whatnot. I agree with the fine of $1,500.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with the fine of $1,500. Mr. Fogelman, I'd encourage you and your clients to meet with the commission staff, and in particular Inspector Hahn, to make sure that that the licensees understand the trouble they're in. There have been a previous protest of renewal, and their history is not, regardless of the ownership here, the history is not good.
No, I'm aware of their history in terms of violations, and I believe they were turning the corner on this until this unfortunate incident. But thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. What is Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Elsie Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Darrell Clark. Thank you.
Domingo H. Kim, Domingo Kim Enterprises, Inc., trading as Stadium Lounge, 3351-53 Greymount Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January 11th, 2018. Violation of Rule 3.03A, employee records, on January the 11th, 2018. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the licensee.
Can I ask everyone to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Kanansky, is this an admission or denial?
Maybe admission is the 4.01. As a 3.03A, we would admit that the employee didn't have any of the records of the establishment. The argument is that he wasn't a manager or a licensee. Much the same as if you happen to go to the stadium, an event, and you got served a beer by somebody, and they were a minor and so forth, they wouldn't have the employee records, or a dancer on the block wouldn't have the employee's records if she was an employee, or the head bartender at the Capitol Grill. But that employee did not have the employee records.
Okay. You're arguing that there's no sort of respondeat superior liability here.
Because every employee would not have your employee records. Only a manager, and would sort of be a dereliction of duty to have every employee to have everybody's records. In this case here, for the sake of argument, arguendo, we used to say in the Latin term, that the records are on the premises. They're in the manager's office or Mr. Kim's office on the premises upstairs.
Okay. Were they cooperative? And did you go in, Detective?
My cadet did, but I went in after it.
So who requested the records?
I requested the records as well as Chris Mallard. There's some issues with this particular one, so I believe it was more of a breakdown in communication due to the fact that the employee couldn't speak proper English.
Oh, so the employee you don't think understood what you were asking?
No.
Okay.
That's when we're getting back to, like, Cool Hand Luke. It was a failure to communicate in this instance, and in a way of mitigation, I might as well give you the whole schmear at one time.
Yes.
This was a new employee, as indicated, and was very unfamiliar with the operation. Since that time, Mr. Kim is going to have everybody else alcohol certified, and told him to keep the employee records, another set downstairs, but he has to be careful who he gives that information to, because some of it has sensitive information into it.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I do. Mr. Kadensky, when Mr. Kim isn't there, is there a manager?
And we'll usually, sometimes his son is there,
Do you know
and
if there's
sometimes his wife is there, but this was a new employee at the time.
was there anyone there? If it was a new employee, was there a manager there when?
Not at this time.
There was not. If there was a manager there, would the manager have access to the employee records?
Manager absolutely would have access to go into the office to go ahead and look at the records. I don't want to beat the thing to death, but I mean, as an example, my daughter has the rest of High Tops. There's 150 employees. The only people who have access is the people in the office to go and ask for the records. And somebody come down, they have to show it to them. You can't ask, waitress or waiter or bartender.
I understand the argument, but I understand.
Anything else?
I would like to testify.
Yes. Your name, sir?
He's going to testify about this.
Are you talking about the sale of the minor in the records?
Yes, I am.
You were there?
No, but I'm representing the Waverly Improvement Association.
You can talk about after we make a disposition.
Okay.
You can speak. Okay. With respect to the Rule 4.01A charge on January 11, 2018, on the basis of the admission and the testimony and the materials contained in the charging documents, I would find a violation of that rule. I would dismiss the Rule 3.03A violation based on the detective's testimony that they really failed to communicate it accurately.
I find a violation of 4.01A as well, and I agree with the dismissal 3.030A.
Mr. Chairman, can you explain again your reason for the dismissal of 3.0?
The detective testified that he didn't think that this individual understood English and didn't really accurately understand the request for the records.
Okay. All right, I find a violation of Rule 4.01A, and will agree to dismiss the violation of Rule 3.03A.
Okay, now can I ask you, sir, to state your name for the record, please?
My name's Kunthun Thwili, K as in kite.
Step back just a little bit.
All right. Okay. All right. K as in kite, UN, S as in son, UN, S as in Sam, W-E-E-L-E-Y, Thwili.
Say it one more time. Just give me the letters.
K-U-N, S-U-N, S-W-E-E-L-E-Y.
Thank you.
Okay, and sir, whom do you represent?
The Waverly Improvement Association.
Okay, and what did you want to tell us?
We would respectfully request the liquor board to consider revoking the license.
I gotta object. It has really nothing to do with this hearing. You know, you made a finding with regard to serving a minor.
Well, he hasn't finished his
I
statement.
know, but he's asking the board to do a revocation. He has really no part in this
Well,
hearing.
the association has written asking us to do the same thing, as has Delegate McIntosh. So they know about
The
the
only thing
problem.
I'm saying is that's fine. When were the licensee advised us to that letter, or when was I advised? When we weren't. Because if it's going to be a plebiscite type things, I'll have Mr. Kim bring the whole K-Grow group down here, 40 or 50 people. You can't sandbag somebody like that.
I note your objection, Mr. Kudensky. I
Okay,
think we
all
can give the testimony the weight that it deserves.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We, with the Waverly Improvement Association, would like to remind the commissioners and the chairman about the memorandum of understanding that we agreed to in 2016, and one of the sections in it prohibits sales of liquor to minors, and this is a violation of that clause in the memorandum of understanding. We also question if Mr. Kim had a alcohol management certified person on duty during the violation. We also question the...
Is that part of the MOU as well?
Yes, that's part of the MOU, the prohibition of sales to minors of liquor, that's in the MOU.
The fact that the individual wasn't certified, is that part of the MOU?
Yeah, it's in the MOU that a alcohol management certified employee must be on duty at all times of operation of
You have the MOU with you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But it's on record with the liquor board because it was agreed to in 2016. We also questioned the meeting requirements where Mr. Kim was supposed to attend 2 meetings for the Oakenshaw Improvement Association. The Waverly Improvement Association is questioning that. We're also unhappy with the speed that is being done for the renovations of the exterior to the building itself as well.
Okay, I appreciate your testimony. You realize a lot of that goes to the issue of license renewal rather than to this.
Yes, and we will be coming back here to protest the renewal of the license.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions.
Okay, so obviously Mr. Kim is aware that the community has been at his throat for some time.
Chairman, one of the community organizations.
Right, okay.
It's pet peeve of mine, the community is.
Well, I don't know, and maybe I'm overly broad in that statement, but we had a very long protest last time, and obviously...
I don't know why we don't get these.
And obviously, I don't know either why we may be in for another one upcoming, but he obviously needs to dot his i's and cross his t's very carefully, and on this occasion, he did not. So, with respect to, and taking into account, he had a prior sale to minor violation in 2013, and he had a gambling violation that was dealt with at some length back in 2015. But on this, I would impose a $1,000 fine, and I'd give him 30 days to pay it, and recommend to him that perhaps he needs to speak to Delegate McIntosh's office as well as this organization before he's back here, or else we're going to have another very long session.
I agree with the fine of $1,000, and I highly encourage him to speak with the community associations.
So we already found the violation of Rule 4.01A, and I agree with the fine of $1,000 and echo my colleagues about re-engaging or increasing your engagement with the communities, because
Specifically, because if you've entered into a memorandum of understanding and it's become a limitation on your license to the extent it's enforceable, if they can point to specific violations, it's going to put us in a difficult position. So you should work on that, okay?
Yeah, and from the, I'm not going to argue at this point, but there's another side, another shoe that is, which if that's going to be, then we'll just bring all those people down here. Lastly, and I don't know why you accept the letter March 1st. Today is March 1st. It's like March Madness is starting today, and you get a letter here February 28th. I couldn't respond to any of
I
these.
agree with you, Mr. Dempsey. I believe you're entitled to have them and in time to respond to them. And I don't know why you aren't copied if you're a counsel of record in the case. But I think we're not bound by strict rules, so of evidence, so we accept them for the weight that we'll give them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like all exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Darrell Clark. Board Exhibit 3, letter of opposition from State Delegate Maggie McIntosh. Board Exhibit 4, letter of opposition from Waverly Improvement Association. Thank you.
Saying on. Trading as Avenue Liquor and Bar, 1238 Greenmount Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January 16, 2018. Please come forward.
If you all raise your right hands, please.
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Sang Kiran. I'm on the Avenue Bar.
There are two individuals, one named Sang Kil-an and one Sang Kyu-an?
Yes.
Which one are you?
Sang Kiran.
Oh, okay.
Sang Kiran is my brother's.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So you're charged with a sale to minor on January 16 of this year. Do you admit or deny that that happened?
Admit.
Okay. So what happened on that occasion?
What happened was I wasn't there when my employer said to the minor. So they called me what happened. So I went to the store and I looked at all the cameras and I asked my employer what happened. She told me that she had a problem with her family. So she was talking to the manager while they're talking, and the minor came in and she was so excited to talk about her family and the trouble. So she didn't even look at the minor to look at the face. And she was walking there about, it's been 2 months, and then I spoke to her a lot of time. When you sell to the minor, finish the liquor, you have to look at the face. If anybody look under like 35, 40, you have to ask ID. And then she wasn't pay attention to look at the customer.
Is she certified, alcohol certified?
Yes, sir. And since I have a business for like 20 years, and then I have no troubles. And since my business getting slower, I heard elderly people, and that's why I get a lot of trouble for selling the minor. But I have no
I'm sure I
trouble.
understood what you just said. You had a business for 20 years,
Yes.
but not this one.
Not this one. I have that business for 10 years, But last 5 years, I have no trouble because that time my business is really good, so I had better employees. But my business can go down there, so I hired the chief employee, and then that's why it happened. But everything, but any other thing, I have a good relation with the communities, so I realized that I'm trying to better for my business. It's like I'm a farmer. If I'm trying to good farmer, if no rain, I cannot be a good farmer. So I'm trying to good better for the owner, for the liquor owner, and if my employer don't help out, I cannot be a good ownership for what I'm thinking is, I've been thinking about for many years to sell the business, but nobody wants to buy the business, so that's why it happened.
Okay, was Mr. On cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
I do not.
Okay, Mr. On the basis of your admission and testimony and the materials that we have and the other testimony received, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. So this is your third sale to minor violation since 2014.
Yes, sir.
So the employees that you're hiring are not helping you.
Yeah, but if I got a lot of money, I can hire the good employees, so they can have more responsibility. But I have to survive, and they have to survive, so that's why it happened. So.
Okay. I'm going to impose a $1,000 fine. I'll give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you, sir.
I agree. Hold on. I agree with the finding of a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 16, 2018. Given that this is the third violation of the same type, I was going to increase to $1,250. That's my finding.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and will agree with the Commissioner Hayfie's fine of $1,250. And Mr. On, you got to clean this up.
Yes, sir.
Because this is serious. One more time, I don't know that we can just fine you. At least I don't think I can.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So that it would be $1,250 and 30 days to pay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can see down here, one second. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Joanne Martin. Thank you.
Kayun Man Kim, Kayun Man Inc., trading as New Edison Lounge, 3133-35 East Monument Street. This is a Class VD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January 16, 2018. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Are you,
Jun Kim, Kyun Kim.
sir, you're charged with a violation sale to minors on January 16. Do you admit or deny it?
Yes, I admit guilt.
And do you want to give an explanation to the board?
I talked to my employee. She was texting on her phone, and she made a mistake, and she told me that it was her mistake. I checked the cameras, and yes, she was on the phone texting and didn't pay attention to the sale.
Is this the same employee who was there back in
No,
the fall
I let him
with the
go.
other violation?
She's a new employee, yeah.
Okay.
And she knows the rules, but now no phones while you're working. So
Has she been certified alcohol awareness?
no.
Okay. Was the employee cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have other questions?
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Kim?
No.
All right, on the basis of your admission, the materials that we have, the testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, on January 16, 2018. I'd impose a $500 fine, and I'd give you 30 days to pay it.
I, too, find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 16, 2018, and I agree with the finding of $500.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the finding of the violation of, or excuse me, the fine of $500.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Joanne Martin. Thank you.
Ho K. Lawler and Albert Yang, HBS Enterprises, Inc., trading as Sugar Hill Tavern, 2361 Druid Hill Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on January 16, 2018. Please come forward.
Was there notice to the licensees, Mr. Page?
We will verify now, Mr. Chairman.
Nobody outside.
Thank you, Mr. Foss.
Thank you. Should we call the next case?
No, I'm going to go forward.
Well, while they're looking for the service
I
information.
don't think so, Ken.
Where's the red folder? We still use the red folders? Druid Hill. Can't help himself. He's got one second. One second. Oz and
So the sign for on February 14th.
Let the record reflect that I've been given a notice that was served on the licensee at the Sugar Hill Tavern on February 14, 2018, and signed by Trishawn Talbert. Inspector Clark had served it. So it appears that we have appropriate notice. Who can testify as to the violation?
You want me to read into the statement of the facts?
However you wish to.
That's what you want, I'll do that. Detective L.C. Greenhill, Vice, Baltimore City Police Department. On 16 January of 2018 at 10:40 p.m., myself along with members of Vice and the Liquor Board, including John Christian Malice, conducted an underage alcohol sales demonic case at Sugar Hill Tavern located at 2361 Druid Hill Avenue. Also working was Baltimore City Police Cadet Charles Thomas with a date of birth of 6 June 97, making him 20 years of age at the time of the investigation. Cadet Thomas, who was working in an undercover capacity, entered Sugar Hill Tavern. Cadet Thomas proceeded to the packaged goods side of the establishment and purchased a 375 milliliter of peach Amsterdam vodka from server Mr. Jonathan Smith, male, black, 51 years of age, date of birth 1/3/67. Cadet Thomas using a departmental $20, paid using a departmental $20 and received change. Cadet Thomas exited the establishment and advised myself that he had just purchased alcohol from the establishment known as Sugar Hill Tavern. At no time did Mr. Smith ask Cadet Thomas for proof of age. I then notified other members of Vice as well as the liquor board and advised them that Cadet Thomas had just purchased alcohol. Minutes later, Detective Gatto, along with liquor agent Chris Amalis, arrived at the location and entered Sugar Hill Tavern. Detective Gatto recovered the department of $20, and the change received was returned back to the bar. Liquor agent Chris Amalis photographed the peach Amsterdam vodka and returned it back to the bar. I explained to Mr. Smith that he will not be criminally charged, but a report would be written up for the establishment. Left in control of Mr. Smith, forwarded to the liquor board.
Thank you. The commissioners have questions?
No questions?
I do not.
All right, on the basis then of the evidence that's been presented and the materials contained in our charging documents, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. Mr. Page, I note here that in 2008, the board revoked this license. It was appealed. Was it reversed on appeal?
I don't have any information in my docket on that, Mr. Chairman. I think I do recall the case. I think it was in fact reversed by the circuit court.
Okay. And then in 2013, there was another sale to minor violation, and they have failed to appear today. So having found the violation, I'd impose a $2,500 fine and give them 30 days.
I, to find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 16, 2018. Given the history of a violation in 2013 of the same type, I will make a finding of $2,000.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A, and based upon the history and their failure to appear, and given notice, I would concur with the chairman's fine of $2,500.
Okay, thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent John Chrisomalis. Thank you.
Sung Ju Park, Cathedral Rock, Inc., trading as Jerry's Bar, 604-06 Poplar Grove Street. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensee.
Yeah, would they raise their right hands, please, on both sides?
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Fogelman, admit or deny?
It's an admission.
Okay. Mitigation?
Yes, thank you. Miss Sungju Park, who's standing to my right, she's been licensee since 2008. They're about to celebrate their 10th anniversary in business. It's my understanding that there was one prior underage sale approximately 5 years ago.
2011.
Yeah, okay, so 6, 7 years ago. They keep 2 employees on duty almost always. Moon Park, who is married to the licensee, is really the manager who's on duty at night. He has been attending classes at the UVA Oriental Medicine Center in Fairfax to get an acupuncture degree, and so he hasn't been at the store as much at night. They hired a Mr. Suk Kim. He was the gentleman who sold to the cadet. Mr. Kim, like my other clients, was not fired, but was impressed upon the severity of the situation when these things happen. Mr. Suk Kim, my understanding is, has been since been alcohol certified by KGRO. Unfortunately, the parks say that they have not received his certificate yet, but they indicate that he indeed did complete a course on alcohol management certification. Once again, the only remedy for these things is 100% ID check, and that's what they say that they're doing now at the bar. So if all my clients are doing that, then the task force won't have as much to do maybe on a Friday night. But until that time, they're in business. So I thank you very much.
Is Mr. Kim cooperative?
Yes, sir.
The commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Do not.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the admission, the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffers from counsel, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. I'd impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of 4.01A sales to minors, January 16, 2018, and I agree with the fine of $500.
Find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the finding of the fine of $500.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice. Thank you.
Mun Sik Harburkan and Chang K. Yim, Linden Bar and Liquors, Inc., trading as Linden Bar and Liquors, 904-08 West North Avenue. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2018. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees. To my immediate right is Mr. Chang K. Yim, one of the licensees and the owner of the establishment.
Good afternoon. Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Admission or denial?
Admission.
Okay, and what happened on January 16th?
It was actually Mr. M himself who served the cadet. He got distracted. He's alcohol awareness certified. He's been operating this establishment for several years, and he totally candid that he just wasn't paying attention at this particular date and time. And now his favorite drink is now New Amsterdam peach vodka. In any event, he's just totally candid about it. He said, "I just dropped the ball on this occasion." He is a full-time operator. He's there all the time. He knows how to run a tight ship, and it was just a lapse. With regard to his prior record, he was here last summer with regard to a BD7 violation. 2012 was an issue with the charter. I'm not even so sure that they were actual hearings, or was that just where you paid? No hearing? It was just sent the letter.
Well, he admitted guilt, apparently.
Yeah,
It was a
it's
small
just, there was a policy that's since been shot down by the audit that you have to have an actual hearing as opposed to pay in lieu of a hearing. And I believe that's all on his record. I think there may have been a minor violation years and years and years ago that's not even here. It's been so long. So in light of his record and his admission, was he cooperative?
Always
Detective
cooperative.
Greenhill? Thank you. Respectfully request to consider a $500 fine.
Commissioners have anything?
No questions.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the admission, materials contained in the charging documents, testimony, and proffers, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2018. I'd impose a $500 fine, and I would give them 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sales to minors, January 16, 2018, and I agree with the chairman of the $500 fine, 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree with the fine of $500.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice. Thank you.
Seward Lee and Darlene Williams, Seward Lighthouse Company, Inc., trading as Club Bar, 1609 Lawrence Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 3rd, 2018. Please come forward.
Would you raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, I do.
Are you Ms. Lee, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're charged with selling alcohol to a minor on January 3 of this year. Do you admit or deny that?
Yes.
You admit that it happened?
Yes, it happened. That means my employee was working at the bar, the package good. I was in the behind, then she's very sick right now. She's in the hospital, lung cancer. She said that she was a very bad condition at that moment. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, she was not well at the time, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
And you've had this license for a little over a year?
Yes, about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. Cooperative?
Yes.
And commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. On the basis of your admission, ma'am, the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 3, 2018. You have no history of violations, although you haven't had the license all that long, but I would impose a $250 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, well, we have to see if my colleagues agree with me.
I, too, find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sales to minors, January 3rd, 2018, and I will agree with the $250 fine, 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the finding of the fine of $250.
I hope that your employee gets better, but you have to make sure they're very careful in the future.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here you go, ma'am. I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective L.C. Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector John Chrisomalis. Thank you.
Migrindra, Homagan, Sumdent, Coriola, and Stephen Morgan, Cantha, Inc., trading as Garden Hub, 5511 Bel Air Road. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 3rd, 2018. Violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating tavern at all times on January the 3rd, 2018. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the licensee.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hands.
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
They do.
So admission or denial, Mr. Kaczynski?
We'll do an admission with some explanation, but it did happen.
Okay. You want to give us your explanation?
Well, in this particular instance, there was some new employees that were working there, and the general rule has been, and you can ask the licensee, is that there are normally two people up in the packaged goods area and a bar person. This time, the person who's the bar person was upstairs sleeping, as they said. But usually when that happens, the other person goes to the back. Then you have to go in, you have to show them your ID before you can go in the back, just to make sure there's no minors in there. In this case, it didn't happen. It slipped through the cracks, and I've talked to the licensee, and he indicates he has a fully operational bar, and he also understands that at any time that the packaged goods store is open, the bar has to be open. That's an ironclad rule. You can have the bar open and not have the packaged goods open, but you can't be vice versa.
Okay. And someone mistakenly sold the alcohol to the minor as well.
Well, sometimes with a lot of these is, I think, and I know you see it more than I do, is that you have a lot of people that are of foreign extraction, and God bless them that they're part of America, that they're doing businesses. But you have the Hispanics, and you have the Indian population, and some of the Koreans, and they'll say yes to a lot of things, and they'll say no to a lot of things. But this was a mistake they shouldn't have made.
Okay. Cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. On the basis then of the admissions and the proffer from counsel and the charging documents testimony, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 3, 2018, and a violation of Rule 4.20 small c small double I on January 3, 2018. This licensee's had the bar for a little over a year. This is the first violations. So as to the Rule 4.01 violation, I'd impose a $250 fine. As to the 4.20 violation, I'd impose a $250 fine for a total of $500. I give him 30 days.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, January 3rd, 2018, and I agree with the $250 fine. In addition, I find a violation of Rule 4.20C, little I, January 3rd, 2018, and I would agree with the $250 fine, 30 days to pay for both.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and agree with the fine of $250. I also find a violation of Rule 4.20C, two little i's, and agree with the fine of $250.
Thank you.
West stock of New Amsterdam vodka. Somebody's got it.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Malice. Thank you.
Mr. Page, does that conclude our docket?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until Thursday, March the 15th, 11 a.m. We are adjourned.
Can I see you for a second?